Las Vegas, Nevada. And coming up here, live from Tulsa, Tommy Morrison in a 12-round fight against fellow heavyweight Michael Bent. Morrison trying to move one step closer to a potential matchup after the first of the year with WBC World Heavyweight Champion Lennox Lewis. As we get ready for Morrison and Bent, Larry Merchant, I'll start off with you. Tommy Morrison arouses a great deal of excitement here in Oklahoma. How much excitement does he arouse for you as a heavyweight championship contender?
Well, this is a test that will tell us something, and what I do know about this fight is that there are a number of very, very nervous people at ringside, all of them connected with a potential fight with Lennox Lewis next year. Both his people and Lennox Lewis's people. His people can't understand why this fight is happening. After all, this is the year in which two heavyweights who had a chance to make big money in title fights, Ray Mercer and Alex Garcia, both lost to potential setups. But Tommy Morrison himself wants this fight. I think he thinks he has to beat a fighter like this to prove to himself that he can take on a boxer like a Lennox Lewis. But there are a lot of nervous people here, and we've seen stranger things happen.
What you're saying is that he had the Lewis fight in the pocket. He didn't have to take this fight. He did it, not his handlers, huh?
$7.5 million for that fight, and he's making about a fifth of that for this fight.
And he's in that position because he got a 12-round decision over this man, George Foreman, last April. What do you think it did for Tommy Morrison's psyche to get a win over you?
Like any football player playing in the Rose Bowl or participating even on the sideline of the Super Bowl, you become a better fighter because of it. He's a sleeper. He's going to prove to a lot of people he's a lot better than they think he is.
Are we likely to see that tonight, or is that a tough position for him tonight?
Well, he's got everything to lose and nothing to gain, so it doesn't leave him in a good position to go out there and give his best. So there's a lot of nervousness on his part, but probably we'll see a good fight.
All right, we've been waiting for it. Michael Bent against Tommy Morrison, and here now is Bent. Born in London, England, reared for part of his childhood in Jamaica, wound up in the Cambria section of Queens, New York, 5-time amateur national champion. He calls himself the finest amateur boxer never to have made an Olympic team. He lost in the trials to Ray Mercer in 1988.
I think both the good news and the bad news is those 5 championships. The good news, obviously, he was an outstanding amateur. The bad news is, why after 2 or 3 of those titles didn't he try to improve himself by turning pro? It suggests some weakness in his emotional or mental armor, and that's what Tommy Morrison wants to exploit tonight.
Bent comes into the ring, a remarkably inexperienced professional fighter for his age. He's 28 years old, some say he's 29. He's had only 11 professional fights. In his very first professional fight, he was knocked out by a southpaw named Jerry Jones, and he didn't fight again for another 22 months. So the career got off to an extremely slow start. He can jump-start it tonight. Now, Tommy Morrison insists that the theme from the movie 2001, Thus Sprech Zarathustra, be played before he leaves his dressing room to enter the ring.
And if he doesn't win tonight, it'll be at least in 2001 before he gets a title fight.
Perhaps.
Debbie Carrera, who is Lennox Lewis's trainer, told me today that if the best Bent shows up, he can win the fight.
Pepe Correa, because of the money that Lewis can make for fighting Morrison, is scared to death of that possibility. Now the music changes to George Thorogood's Bad to the Bone, and that is Tommy Morrison's entrance music.
Comes from Oklahoma, about an hour's drive away from here, where he's bought a house recently, and where as a high school student, he was voted the man least likely to survive, meaning survive his teenage years. is a wild one.
He made it out of his teenage years. Is he going to make it through his 20s?
I think if there was another vote taken, he'd win that contest too.
Tommy has been known to party hardy. He says he's been walking the straight and narrow in anticipation of his title shot. Nicknamed the Duke because of his reported distant relation to the late John Wayne.
He also has a distant relationship to some of the 5 heavyweight champions who have fought in Tulsa either before or after they won titles. Marvin Hart, Jess Willard, Jack Dempsey, Primo Canera, and Max Baer all fought in Tulsa.
You have just become the first boxing analyst ever to draw a relationship between Tommy Morrison and Jack Dempsey. Nevertheless,
Or
the
Primo
record.
Canera.
Oh, I don't know about that. 38 wins, 1 loss, no draws. His career is really more defined by the loss than by the 38 wins because many questions about Tommy were raised in his 4th-round knockout at the hands of Ray Mercer.
Joe Louis got knocked out before he won the title, so he's not in bad company.
Tail of the tape. Morrison 4 years younger than Bent. They are similar in weight, but frankly, when you look at them close up, Tommy Morrison presents the bigger, stronger picture. Punch stat numbers, Larry.
We're comparing the Carl Williams fight with Tommy Morrison because that's the fighter who most resembles Bent. And in that fight, Morrison threw very, very few punches, as you can see, compared to what Bent did against Mark Wills in his last fight. Although in his later fight against George Foreman, Morrison punched considerably more often and harder. And there are the jabs, and that tells you what kind of fight this is. Bent the boxer, Morrison the slugger.
And Tommy has thrilled the crowd by entering the ring in a Tulsa Oilers hockey jersey. Rules of the bout from our unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
Tommy Morrison and Michael Bent will box tonight using the rules of the World Boxing Organization. 12 rounds. There is no standing 8 count. The 3 knockdown rule is in effect. You can be saved by the bell in the last round only. Only the referee can stop the fight. And in case a cut is caused by an accidental headbutt, and that cut causes the fight to be stopped, we go to the scorecards after 3 rounds have been completed. Before that, it's a technical draw. Jim.
Brilliantly done, Harold. Right now, let's go up to ring announcer Michael Buffer for the pre-fight introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, Top Rank Incorporated and Holden Productions, in association with the undisputed, undefeated king of beers, Budweiser, proud to be your bud, present the featured bout of the evening. This bout is sanctioned by the World Boxing Organization. Supervisor in attendance at ringside, Mr. Ed Levine of Miami, Florida. All the other officials will remain the same except for the judges and referee. The judges assigned by the WBO, scoring on a 10-point must system, are Harry Davis of Toronto, Canada, John Rupert of Miami, Florida, and Dr. Clark San Martino of Kingston, Rhode Island. And when the bell rings, the man in charge of the action, working for the 2nd time in a world championship bout from Kansas City, Missouri, Danny Campbell. And now, ladies and gentlemen, from Tulsa, Oklahoma, let's get ready to rumble! 12 rounds of boxing for the WBO. Heavyweight Championship of the world. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the white trunks with gold, black, and green trim, weighing in at 226 pounds. He's originally from London, England, but now lives and fights out of the Big Apple, New York City. He brings a professional record of 10 victories with 5 KOs. Only 1 defeat on his record. Ladies and gentlemen, ranked number 9 in the world by the WBO, he is the challenger, Michael Bent. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, weighing in at 227 pounds, wearing the black trunks with stars and bars trim. His professional record, 38 victories, 33 KOs. Only 1 defeat. He's originally from right here in the state of Oklahoma, now fighting out of Kansas City, presenting the WBO heavyweight champion of the world, Tommy the Duke Morrison.
Let's go, gentlemen. Come out here. All right, pretty much in second right here. Right here. How about over here? Right here. All right, gentlemen, we went over the rules in the dressing room. Let's have a good, clean fight. This is for the heavyweight championship of the world. God bless both of you. Shake hands. Let's come out fight.
Any organization that calls this a heavyweight championship fight defines itself, but that doesn't mean it can't be a good fight.
I think the Bent corner is coming out taunting. That means whistling through the graveyard to me.
Michael Bent in his last fight prior to this one against Mark Wills broke his right hand and won anyway. Didn't have the brace taken off of his right hand until the 3rd week of September. George Foreman in the past has told us it is impossible for a fighter to come all the way back from an injury like that this rapidly.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time before you get confidence, even if he ever had confidence. They said he was a good amateur, but the pros are totally different.
Big question here, is Bent strong enough to handle Morrison's power? And the early returns say no.
The thing is, if Morrison can control his burst,
Tommy stunned by right hand, and down goes Morrison. He has been plagued by a weak chin. 4, 5, 6.
Morrison is embarrassed more than anything in the world.
That'll quiet the crowd a little bit. And Bent again lands the right. We saw Morrison go down twice in the same round against Carl the Truth Williams.
One more knockdown, and this is over, and Michael Bent knows it.
3 knockdown rule in effect. Michael Bent on the verge of a big moment, and he's got it. That's it. A first-round KO for Michael Bent. And there goes Tommy Morrison's $8 million payday.
A lot of very unhappy people at ringside, as well as in this arena. It's sort of the feeling that I felt in Tokyo when Mike Tyson was supposed to fight Evander Holyfield next, and he lost to Buster Douglas. This is the 3rd time this year something like this has happened in the heavyweight division.
I think Tommy Morrison picked the wrong style to fight this guy in the 1st round. He didn't need to mix it up so quick. He hurt him and tried to finish it off. Couldn't control his burst of power.
It was exactly what Bent expected. It was what Morrison told us he was going to do yesterday, George. He had the same question in his mind that I mentioned about whether Bent could handle his power. As it turned out, the equation worked the opposite way because Tommy gave Michael Bent the chance to get off.
Right, and he was hurt. Tommy just stood in front of him and waited for him to hurt him back. He should have controlled himself, hurt him casually, coasted along, and just kept hurting this guy, but he didn't do it.
All right, let's take a look at how all of this happened, George. As you take a look at a Michael Bent who is clearly overcome by this sudden change in his career. This man has gone from virtual unknown to heavyweight title contender in a matter of seconds.
Michael, turn around. Come to me.
If you ask me, there's too many firecrackers.
All right, we're going to take a look at all 3 knockdowns. Now, early, Bent had been stunned by a left hook. So Tommy came in, and that's what happened.
Walks right into an unnecessary mix-up that he needed not even have. Hurt the guy, and the experience that should have taken him over. Then he gets right up and starts to exchange again, which was not necessary.
That made 2. And at that point, there were still 1 minute and 40 seconds remaining in the round. And Morrison, George, showed none of the professional skills necessary to get out of trouble.
It's called overconfidence. He never would have gotten out there with a fighter like that he feared and overwhelmed him in the first round.
If he had started the fight the way he fought you for 12 rounds,
you got to have a certain amount of a fear to be a good fighter. That fear was not present tonight, and it cost him his title.
Right now, let's go to ring announcer Michael Buffer for the official particulars.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please. Referee Danny Campbell enforces the 3 knockdown rule. The official time, 1 minute. 33 seconds into the very first round. The winner by TKO and new WBO heavyweight champion of the world, Michael Bent.
A nice moment as Tommy Morrison comes over to congratulate a still tearful Michael Bent. And now Larry Merchant stands by with the winner. Larry.
Michael Bent, you can have 2 or 3 T's at the end of your name now. Congratulations. Why were you crying after this fight?
Well, if people knew my travels, man, they'd be crying too, you know what I mean? It's just a dream come true, man. 20 years, man, and it's like all the things that, my personal problems, my mother, I love you, struggled hard, my father, I love you. People will talk sometimes later on, you know, people in Cambridge Heights, Jamaica, London, I love all you guys for supporting me. Hope, I love you for watching.
Big up, Warren.
Let's go to the fight, Michael. You expected him to come out the way he did, didn't you? And what were you ready for it, and what did you do?
Well, if you hit me, I want to fight. You know what I mean? I had a game plan. My game plan was to box Tommy, but he hit me, got me kind of pissed off. I said, listen, let's do this, man. You know what I mean?
He seemed to do more than that. He seemed to hurt you wobble you a couple times.
Listen, my first fight, I got stopped. I hope this shuts up all the damn critics who said I couldn't do it, who said I had no chin, who said I was suspect, who questioned my character. Hope to shut up all you guys. My friends.
So were you seriously hurt or buzzed when he hit you a couple times?
Did you see it?
Well, I saw it, but I want to know what you felt.
What do you think, Larry?
I thought you were buzzed.
Yeah, of course I was. That's why I knocked his ass out. I was buzzed.
So he woke you up. All right, let's take a look at the knockdowns, and you describe what happened after you were buzzed and how you felt. The first knockdown.
Right hand, right over the top. I mean, he was shaking. I don't think Tommy he underestimated my hand speed. And my punching power, obviously, but you know what? Hand speed is punching power, so, you know.
All right, here's the second knockdown.
Another left hook right there.
You think that after he buckled you, he got a little wild and careless?
No. I mean, listen, if I were to say that he got wild and careless, which means that I've implied that,
no, it implies that you took advantage of it.
Well, you're implying right then.
Here's the third. Did you realize that if you got him here, that it was over?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I was gonna bust him up as I'm talking a little stupid now. I'm just calm down, relax. Okay, now I was through the right hand. It was very, very good.
Wait a minute. Now, for somebody who wants to be a fighter, wait a minute. For somebody who wants to be a ring announcer, you're getting a little too emotional here, Michael. But you've earned it. What do you think will come up next?
Well, right now, just gonna enjoy this one, but as far as tomorrow's concerned, take on the world, man. Riddick, I love you, brother, my man, but you got something I want. Lennox, I love you too, but you got something I want. Let's do this, man.
Okay, we'll see what they have to say.
Hey, what's up, brother?
Back to you, ringside.
There you go, man.
All right, the references there, of course, the Lennox Lewis and Riddick Bowe, both of whom Bent knows well from his amateur days and from his work as a sparring partner, George. He's been in the ring with the best guys. Maybe that helped him tonight.
Maybe so, but in my mind, Bent is less than an average fighter who did something great tonight. He got out there and caught a guy overconfident, hit him with a right hand that he never recovered from. That is not the Tommy Morrison that we can see a lot more of in the future.
Well, let's see what Tommy Morrison has to say about what happened to him here as Larry stands by with him.
All right, Tommy, you hurt him, buckled him twice early in the round. Did you get a little careless then, do you feel?
I think I got a little bit careless. Started wading in without
with very little defense. And I got caught with a good shot. You know, it can happen to anybody, but this is by far not the end of me. I'll be back. I learned from my mistakes. That's what we're going to do tonight.
Why did you want to take this fight, which many people thought was dangerous, including your own handlers, rather than go straight to Lennox Lewis for a much larger purse?
Well, I don't think that. I mean, I wasn't real impressed with his skills. I don't think. You know, he was pretty decent, but it's just my mistakes are what what hurt us. But I'm a young fighter. I'll bounce back from things like this. I have before in the past, and it's just one of those things you have to try and learn from.
You're saying you underestimated what? His power, his willingness to take a good punch?
I don't think I didn't underestimate his power. Any you know, anyone in the heavyweight division can hurt you. Defensive skills is something that I feel we've have improved on, but obviously tonight, you know, everyone gets caught with that shot every now and then, and you know, he capitalized on it, and I didn't.
Dumb question. If you had it to do all over again, would you fight Michael Bent or wait for Lennox Lewis?
Well, I leave that up to my managers. You know, they usually make the right decisions in that area. You know, these are sort of things that you learn from. You know, these sort of things happen. Fighters either bounce back from it or they don't. You know, I was impressed by you know, the way he mixed up his punches. But Tommy Morrison beat Tommy Morrison tonight. I stayed in the middle a little bit too long and got caught with some good shots. And any man over 200 pounds can hurt you. So
thank you very much. Thank you very much, Tommy. A very expensive lesson he learned here in the ring tonight. Jim?
All right, and a very candid assessment, George, when he says Tommy Morrison beat Tommy Morrison tonight. Now, he had the $8 million date with Lewis in his pocket and went ahead and took this fight. Is it impossible for a guy in that situation to properly concentrate on the business at hand?
It's kind of hard, but the tremendous thing that happened to Tommy Morrison tonight, each time he was knocked down, he got right back up. That tells you he had no intentions of losing. He didn't believe he's lost in his mind. He'll make a comeback, and a terrible comeback. A good one.
Well, let's take a look now at the round once again in its entirety, this time on our handheld camera. And George will take a look at exactly what you've described, Morrison's willingness to get back up and roughhouse with Bent at a time when he would have been better served protecting himself.
He hurt him so easily in the first couple of exchanges. He wanted to finish it too quick. It's not what he's done in the last time with Carl or the Troop William or George Foreman. He couldn't believe it, so he goes out for a quick knockout.
Tommy's bread and butter is the left hook, and there he backed Bent up with the left hook.
And you'll see him hurting and landing the effective punches. And he hurts him, and he goes crazy. Then you leave yourself wide open for a fighter who's been in the amateurs too long to just stand in front of that long.
Now watch Bent's fast hands here when he comes over the top with the right against Morrison, as you say, wide open.
See?
Boom.
And it's strange, but it happens to a lot of fighters. But Morrison tremendously gets up because I don't believe it. And that's the test of a champion. Not how many times, not if you can get knocked down or not, but can you get up?
Now, we saw in the Williams fight, Tommy doesn't know how to hold on, cover up, protect himself in the ways that so many professionals have learned.
Mainly because he doesn't believe this is happening to him tonight. If he had any idea what would have happened, he would have been better prepared.
Now, here's the moment of truth. A minute 40 seconds still to go in the round. 3 knockdown rule in effect. Tommy knows that he must stand up for the remainder of the round.
He goes forward.
Incredible.
Tells you something about Tommy Morrison. He's got courage. Sometimes courage can be a handicap in boxing.
Could he still have been underestimating Bent's punching power?
No doubt about it. He didn't get beaten. He got caught unsuspected by with a punch he never thought he'd get hit with.
Mondo Bizarro. And as Larry Merchant points out, 3rd time this year that a heavyweight contender has had a massive speculative paycheck taken away from him by an untimely loss. Wow.
Wow is right, and I haven't pulled this one out for a while, but we have called this game the theater of the unexpected, and the most unexpected things usually happen in the heavyweight division because in this division more than any other, one punch does change the course of events, and there are a lot of heads spinning right now and some people chuckling over the fact that miscalculation was made and other people planning how they can fill the vacuum. All the wheels in the heavyweight division money rooms are spinning madly right now, but we have seen a very decisive and dramatic end to Tommy Morrison's quest for a fast heavyweight championship fight. And right now, after that defeat, I'm not sure, as I said earlier, that it won't be till past 2001 before he earns a shot at the heavyweight championship.
Certainly Lennox Lewis is reconsidering his options tonight. George Foreman, Larry, a tower of candor this evening, says that Michael Bent is at best an average fighter. You got any reason to believe or to argue that he's something better than that?
Well, all we can say is time will tell. As we said earlier, some people said if the best of him shows up tonight, he could beat Morrison. Everyone has always known about him as a great amateur. It's wondered why he hasn't fought more often as a professional. Thought he had the ability. He's been with a number of different handlers, including Emmanuel Stewart, Mickey Duff, the great British manager and promoter. But sometimes, and again more often in the heavyweight division than not, late in years, somebody pulls it all together, whether it's out of desperation or through his experience. And of course, as it turns out now, instead of him being the perfect opponent for Tommy Morrison turned out to be the perfect opponent for Michael Bent. Let him enjoy this moment, and we'll see down the road what else he can do in the heavyweight division.
Indeed. Tommy thought that Michael was just a stepping stone to Lennox, but in the end, it was Morrison who got his head bent tonight. First by a right hand, and then by a series of punches. We'll give you a final wrap on this entire evening of boxing at the Tulsa Civic and Convention Center after these words about a couple of upcoming programs here on HBO.